Kyrie Irving, could he return sooner than expected? And what does that mean for the Mavericks season? Plus, the Wizards still think they're bad. The Suns actually realize that they're bad. And it's NBA versus here on Locked On NBA Game Night.
When that final buzzer rings, you know it's time for Locked On NBA Game Night. All the post-game reactions to every game across the league, every single night, with insights only the hosts at Locked On can provide. It's the true NBA fans' one stop for all the action. Every game, every night. It's Locked On NBA Game Night. Tipping off now.
What's up, everybody? Happy late Wednesday or Thursday, and welcome to Locked On NBA Game Night, where you get the latest and greatest from the games when they start next week from around the association and so much more here at the Locked On Podcast Network. New day for me, Tony Easthiles, Locked On Pacers, and Wes Goldberg from Locked On Heat as we start our Thursday adventure, and we have a lot to get to today. Kyrie Irving is ahead of schedule in his ACL recovery. We'll get to NBA versus and talk about the Pistons and Bucks as we get back to the Eastern Conference. And teams are holding media day. They're saying some stuff. Some of it's good. Some of it is maybe not so good. Reality checks are coming for everybody. But we start in Dallas, which could be a very interesting team this season with a top 15 to 10 player in Anthony Davis, a potentially ascending star in Cooper Flagg, a very crowded front court, and yet a talented front court that could be a good team if they had a good guard. And lo and behold, their best one, Kyrie Irving, who tore his ACL in March, according to Dallas Hoops Journal, is, quote, ahead of schedule, unquote. March 3rd, the official date of his injury last season. Wes, how good can the Mavs be if Kyrie actually returns this season?
Very good, right? They have a Kyrie Irving-sized hole in their lineup right now because he's injured. And without Kyrie, I don't really know who gets them into their offense. I thought D'Angelo Russell was a nice signing for the salary that they got him at, right? We're finally past the D'Angelo Russell's worth $20 million a year phase of NBA history. But they don't really have a guy who does what Kyrie does in terms of getting to the basket, putting pressure on the defense, and then being able to kick out to shooters. And I'm not really sure what that first gear of their offense looks like when Kyrie is out, unless it's Cooper Flagg who's ready to kind of do that stuff, because that's not really D'Lo's game. They bring in Dennis Smith Jr. That's not his game. I'm not really sure who's going to be able to. It's not Anthony Davis's game. He's more of a play finisher than a play starter. So with Kyrie, I just think he's kind of the rug that ties the room together. And if he walks into that and is close to what he was when he first got hurt, which I think is a question at this stage of his career for the record, especially when he comes back. Is that going to be something that he is right away? But if he can be 80% of that, 70% of that, then that's a tremendously helpful boost to Dallas. Does that materially change the way that I think they stack up in the Western Conference? Maybe they leap a few more teams, but it doesn't really get them into that first tier or that second tier. But it probably makes them more of a solid playoff team depending on when he comes back.
Look, Fred VanVleet's out for the year. So I think that the top teams in the West, Denver, OKC, Minnesota, back-to-back conference finals appearances seem pretty set. The Lakers might be pretty good. The Rockets still should be somewhat good. But, like, to me with Kyrie, the Mavs are in that, maybe even about Minnesota, but, like, just sub-Minnesota tier of teams. Like, Anthony Davis is that good when he's healthy. Big question, but Mark Stein just reported that he started 5-on-5, which is a good sign with training camp for them starting next week. Cooper Flagg, we'll see how good he is. I mean, it's a huge shrug. Like, ESPN just ranked him 52nd best player in the NBA. I think that's a little ludicrous, but, like, there's that level of belief.
We weren't that far off in our Locked On Top 100, were we?
80s, I believe. I'm only using their 52nd ranking because it supports the argument of them being good more so than using our own rankings. So, like, they have clearly talented players on their team, right? A lot of them. Derek Lively's very good. Daniel Gafford's very good. PJ Washington, Clay, blah, blah, blah. But their guard rotation specifically is why Kyrie is such a big part. Is they have good guards on their team. Max Christie was great for them when he got traded there. Jaden Hardy's a fine enough player. D'Lo can really score. Dante Exum can really guard. Brandon Williams was fun and spunky last year, and like they actually want to keep him. But all of them are more like specialists or support players to me as guards. Like they pair well with a really good creator, or they're really good defenders, or like their role is not initiate, create, etc. D'Lo can do some of that stuff, but like the best teams he's been on have not asked him to do that, right? They've had better creators than him on the team. I don't know that the Mavs have that without Kyrie Irving. Like I actually think they'd be better together than just D'Lo run the show. So with Kyrie, like that's a good team. The ideal Kyrie Irving team has besides LeBron winning a championship, like really good defenders around him, decent jump shooters, other quasi-secondary creators. This team has a bunch of those, right? And the Mavs clearly have built that way. They want to be really good on defense and have just enough offensive punch to make it work. And so if Kyrie returns, I don't see why they can't be a playoff team, right? And the question is, can they hold that level till he comes back? But I mean, an early ahead of schedule return from ACL is like the All-Star break reasonable. That means he's playing a third of the season. Like, could they actually be solid by then? This team is built well with him in mind if he plays. So I'm actually pretty bullish on what they could be if he plays. I've operated under the assumption that, like, why play him at all this year? Perfect. Run out the Cooper flag carpet, or roll out the Cooper flag carpet. Let him do his thing. They already have shown, you were at Summer League, that they're going to let him explore the studio space, handling the ball. That seems great. Then you know what he is next year when Kyrie's back and you have your team. But if you get Kyrie this year for like a good amount of the year and you can be at least decent, especially now that Houston might be worse, go for it. Try to win around, get the proof of concept going before he really becomes a focal point of your team.
Yeah, we might need to backpedal here a little bit. I'll believe that Kyrie Irving comes back ahead of schedule when I see it. That's not fair. Necessarily been his history here, and not to dismiss the reporting here at all, but we're not going to know whether or not he comes back ahead of schedule until he comes back. And then even when he does come back, what does he look like? He's 33 right now. He'll be 34 in March. What kind of player is Kyrie Irving going to? This is not Tyrese Halliburton or Jason Tatum, who are right at, you could argue for both of them, at the beginning of their athletic primes. Kyrie's on the other side of that.
Yeah. And
I don't know that we already saw him slowing down, but this is like at 33 or 34 for a smaller guard. This is when it tends to happen. And an injury like this can exacerbate that. So all of these things that we're talking about with Kyrie, what he's able to provide, is obviously what we know Kyrie to be in the past, but we don't really know what he's going to look like going forward. If it's anything like his idol, Kobe Bryant, not so good after a traumatic injury like this. So what does that look like? And what is the team that he returns to? Because the team he returns to is not the team that he left. Anthony Davis will obviously be established at that point. Cooper Flag is sort of the new face of the franchise. Is he more of a face of a franchise by the time he gets there? And does Kyrie walk in? And by all accounts, like, Kyrie's a great teammate, and I don't expect this to happen necessarily, but does he walk in and say, okay, like, where are my touches? What am I going to do? I have to figure out how I am on this leg now. And does that kind of step on some of these other things? And if Dallas can't hold serve until Kyrie Irving comes back, then maybe they just say, you know what, there's not really a point here. Let's do this next year. And if it gets that far, is Kyrie even on the roster, right? Like, I don't know that there's a possibility here that we've seen Kyrie's last game in a Mavericks jersey already.
So you asked a question that's kind of been my operating assumption, which is like, why besides the flag part, like, why play him this year if it's, because I think maybe it was Shams. Somebody said at some point that like January was on the table for him. Mm-hmm. And I was like, dude, what? You want to feel old, Wes? This is Kyrie Irving's 15th season. Isn't that unbelievable? So I was like, dude, he's 33, almost 34. Like, there's no way he's returning in 10 months from an ACL.
I'm old enough to remember him playing 15 minutes at Duke.
That's it. Total. All 15 of them, right?
Yep.
He did not play much there. He was so good in college. So then I immediately was like, what? And then how good are they actually without him, to the point where, if, like we said, if they get to the All-Star break and they're in 10th, like, what are you doing? Right? Who cares? You don't even have your picks. Like, you need to, I think they have their pick this year. Like, you need to keep it. So maybe they don't. But regardless, that made me think, maybe he won't return. This is kind of the first time that there's two people saying his timeline could be possible. That, okay, maybe he does. But, like, how good could the Mavs be? Very good. Will they be good enough for it to be worth it for them to do that is a different question, right? Because of their guard issues that we've talked about. And I think it's very obvious they need them, which is why they were willing to move on from Omax to get Dante Exum there, because he can dribble the ball. He's not like a creator, but he can dribble. So a lot hinges on Kyrie this year for them, which is potentially scary, but maybe their defense will be as good as they hope, and they can survive till he returns, let's say.
Or Cooper Flag is really that guy, walks in, and he's your point forward, and we're going to move the offense in that direction.
When's the last time a rookie elevated a team to that extent, though? Like, LeBron. Even Wemby was awesome and the Spurs were bad, right? Like, it's very rare that a rookie's that awesome in year one.
It's LeBron James. Celtics will tell you, like, Jason Tatum, his rookie year, get out of here. It was LeBron James.
They can be plus players. I'm usually like a default rookies are bad kind of guy, but they can be plus players. But even when they are, it's not enough to make you like, oh my God, they won 55 games, right? So we'll see what happens here. But if Kyrie is ahead of schedule, perhaps change your opinion of the Mavs for the coming season. It's time for our weekly tradition, pushed back by a day, delayed, not denied. NBA versus. We go back to the East, two teams that hope they could be hosting a series, perhaps. Giannis's Bucks, Cade Cunningham's Pistons. We'll get to it coming up here on Locked On NBA Game Night. But first, everybody, going to tell you quickly about the great people over at FanDuel. It's NFL season. It's here. The Colts are great in my town. The Dolphins are terrible in Wes's town. FanDuel is making sure you are ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer right now. New customers can bet just $5. If your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets that you can use across the app to do basically whatever you want to do. Many people who use FanDuel love it for a variety of reasons. Player props, they've got it on there. Whoever you like to bet, you can hop in with a same game parlay that you build yourself. If you're watching a game, jump in on live action. Make it even more gripping for yourself. It makes every game more exciting, right? Whether you're watching your favorite team or you're just keeping an eye on your fantasy lineup. My fantasy teams are not very good. Perhaps some excitement is needed. It's quick. It's easy. It's the best way to add a little more energy into your Sunday. So are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. Back here on Locked On NBA Game Night, thanks for making us your first listen today and every single day, including weekends, your second listen, any Locked On NBA show. We have a specific one for your favorite team to make it your second listen. And Media Day starting for many of them. The Suns are talking right now as Wes and I are speaking. The Wizards, the Pelicans, so many have already begun. If you're interested in hearing what is going on, Zion Williamson is skinny. It's unbelievable. Jake Madison on Locked On Pelicans will have more. NBA versus Wes and I's game we've been doing for about a month and a half now, picking two teams roughly predicted to finish in a similar spot in the standings, comparing their star, their co-star, their coach, their depth, and deciding who's better. Today, we get to the Bucks and the Pistons, two very much hopefuls in a down Eastern Conference. Can they get home court advantage? Can they get into that tier with the Magic and Hawks are supposed to be good, maybe not. Wes, we start with best star for these teams, but I don't know if we have to talk about that for very long today.
No, because it's clearly Cade Cunningham, right? I mean, he's the guy that's on the right. No, it's Giannis. You take it. Congrats, Giannis. Tony, is Giannis stop me when you agree. Is he the first best player in the NBA? No. Is he the second best player in the NBA? Is he the third?
No, but I could make the case.
Is he third?
Yes, I think so.
Behind Jokic and...
I say SGA, although if you say Luka is second, I'm like, yeah, I get it. He's beat a bunch of dudes in the playoffs.
So I would put Giannis... Part of me wants to put him second. I love Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Do I really think he's better than Giannis? I don't know. I love Luka. I got to see it for a full season. Health-wise, skinny-wise, muscle watch-wise. There's a real argument that Giannis is the second best player in the league, and there's no argument that he's lower than fourth.
No.
So, I mean, we could do this exercise against pretty much most teams and say Giannis comes out on top. But I do think it's worth having that conversation of just how far above even a guy like Cade Cunningham, who ranked in the top 20 in our top 100 on the Locked On Podcast Network, even a guy that we love like Cade, Giannis is just so far and away a different tier, probably 2 tiers up from where Cade is right now.
The size of Jokic and Giannis is kind of the separator with the guards that we're talking about in the top 4, where there's 15 games a year without Giannis. I'm like, okay, he's unstoppable. There's just nothing. There's nothing the other team can do to beat him. And Jokic has 5 more of them than him this season, right? 20 instead of 15. Okay. But they're in half the season, the debate is should Jokic or SGA win MVP? And then I look at the stats. I'm like, Giannis look at this. Do you see this? And he's clearly in third, but he's so good. There's no one with his size, athleticism combo, developing passer. He's got a fadeaway mid-range shot now. And it may be a team, that makes more sense around him if he can really harness that passing. Without Dame, we'll see, but we're getting ahead of ourselves because that's the whole point of this exercise. Co-star was exceedingly fascinating for this one because I didn't really know who to pick for either team.
Right. Let's start with Detroit.
Sure.
I have 3 names written down.
Okay.
Is it I think the obvious answer would be Jalen Duren, and
that's not who I picked. This is great. Let's go.
It's not who I picked either, but I think that's
good.
the right pick for last year. But we're not talking about last year. We're talking about this upcoming year. So Jaden Ivey was their second leading scorer. And now he was hurt, but when he was on the court, he was the co-star. So if Jaden Ivey is healthy, I think that's the answer. But I know we all love Amen Thompson and everybody's buying up stock on Amen Thompson. The problem with Amen Thompson stock is it's almost like Nvidia stock, where it's like, do you really want to buy it at this point? Because it's pretty damn high. May I instead interest you in some Asar Thompson stock, which is a little bit lower and has a lot of the same properties, and you might be hitting high. You might be buying low on something that could be just as high. I think Asar Thompson has the potential to be even better defensively than Amen Thompson. I think he's that special. I'm not predicting it. I'm just saying he has the potential. I'm wondering if Asar Thompson ends up being that co-star. I'm going to go with Jaden Ivey as sort of a safer in-between right now, but I'm curious to see who you picked.
Yeah, I pick Asar.
Okay.
I didn't even think twice about it.
It was the first name I wrote down, and then I had to think about it more.
Their season turned around when he returned, right?
Mm-hmm.
Having all what I would say is who is the perfect kind of player next to Cade? Secondary creator. I mean, you'd want better shooting, I guess, but who can kind of shoot, who can get to the basket, and who's just miserable to play against because his defense is so good. He's all those things. Their season turned around when he returned from, was it blood clots or a heart thing? I don't remember exactly what it was, but he missed the first month of the season. They went 34 and 25 when he played. His win share numbers per minute played. It's big men who always do well in this stat because rebounding gets too much weight. Cade and him, right? He was per minute one of their most impactful players last year, and he's only played. He's been hurt both of his seasons. He's only played 120 games, so there's a chance he really rockets up.
Yep.
This season. So I picked him, but they have Tobias Harris was awesome in the playoffs, which is a real sentence I can say. They have other solid players.
He's good for him all year.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The air quotes co-star. I picked Asar. And the reason we're talking about this is the Bucks answer anybody but Miles Turner. And is Miles Turner better than any Pistons second best player? Do you love Kevin Porter Jr.?
Though, if Jaden Ivey averages 17 points per game on 48% shooting, a dash of rebounding, a dash of assists,
that would be great.
Is that better than, would you consider that a co-star versus Asar Thompson averaging 12 to 14 points per game, 5 or 6 rebounds, a couple of assists, plus the all-world defense? In your mind, in those two scenarios, who is the Detroit co-star?
Yeah, it kind of depends on Ivey's defense to me because he hits threes pretty well. He made 40% on a good volume last year, but we've seen what the league thinks of just the scores a lot doesn't guard a lick player, right? And Jaden Ivey might be that right now. We'll see. It's too early. He has also been hurt a lot, right? I can't be Asar could ascend and Jaden Ivey could not. He obviously could, and that could be extremely valuable. And the Pistons are clearly dang, we need him to be something, right? I don't
want to write off Jalen Duren. He's good. I like Jalen Duren a lot. He might end up taking the leap and just being a 20 and 10 guy. And then the obvious thing is, okay, you got the Cade Jalen Duren pick and roll, and that's the entire thing, and that's what they're built around.
Have I said this on game night? You're around NBA players all the time. Their size does not impose me anymore. Jalen Duren's one of the few guys that I'm oh my God,
it's huge. Dwight Howard It's Dwight Howard Yeah.
His shoulders are crazy. He is just a beast, man, and he's so good on the glass.
The answer to this question though is Miles Turner.
You think Miles is better than so Miles specifically plays very well against the Pistons, ironically, because their drop coverage. He's sweet, I'm gonna take 9 threes and make 5 of them. Yeah, he's very good. He got paid over $100 million for a reason. I think I agree with you that he is the second best player. I think the Pistons would love to have Miles Turner on their team. He would fit Cade Cunningham extremely well. I agree that I think it's very, very possible that Asar or Duren or Ivey catches Miles Turner and impact this year. But I would agree right now that Miles Turner is the answer. That was fun to debate the Pistons guys. And be well, it's actually the Bucks guy.
Yeah, and it's closer to a toss-up than I think maybe people realize. But it is. Turner is the safest correct answer right now. So Milwaukee taking the first 2.
Coach, I have this is a hard one. JB Bickerstaff showed me some stuff last year. That was his best playoff series in a minute. They were the underdogs and they blew 2 games at home that they could have had. Doc Rivers' playoff resume is both funny and sad and actually good in the past, but that was 17, 18 years ago at this point, right? I think JD Bickerstaff for the Pistons is a better coach than Doc Rivers for the Bucks, but if you give them other teams, it might be closer. So I'm picking JD Bickerstaff here, but I'm not sure that I love that I'm picking JD Bickerstaff.
There's a little bit of a Spider-Man meme thing happening here, right?
Yes, yes, there is.
Both very good, proven, can get your teams to do the low-hanging fruit stuff almost right away. Both struggle in the playoffs schematically and tend to get outcoached in a 7-game series. I slightly went with Milwaukee with this one. I just think that for as much as Doc Rivers' shortcomings in the playoffs are the story for Doc Rivers, it does overshadow how good of a regular season coach he tends to be. Doc Rivers, like Giannis, is just sort of a walking 50 wins. Like Doc Rivers doesn't lose regular season basketball games a lot. Clippers, Magic, Celtics, Clippers, wherever else he went after that, the Pistons. Like, this is a guy who wins a lot of regular season basketball games. So I'm going slight Doc Rivers on this, but you could talk me into Bickerstaff if you really wanted me to. But I'm going Doc.
You've chosen the Bucks already. It's over, unless you are saying Bucks depth by a mile, Pistons depth by a mile. So that leads us to depth, which both these teams have a lot of guys. Which collection of guys is better?
Oh, it's Detroit. And
I agree.
By a landslide. I mean, you go through the Milwaukee roster and you're like, okay, Giannis, Turner, okay. The rest of this kind of stresses me out. You're like, Bobby Portis, I like Bobby Portis. Kuzma was terrible for them. You got to figure he can't possibly be that bad. I don't think he could be very good. He can't be that bad, but okay. Kevin Porter Jr. just feels like there's a lot of responsibility on his plate that I don't feel comfortable with. Yeah, I don't feel like I like AJ Green fine. Like Taurean Prince is a nice player, whatever. I just get really uncomfortable really quickly with that Milwaukee depth chart. Where in Detroit, we just discussed 3 different guys who could be their second best player. I like that. Like that's more of a feature than a bug to me.
To me, besides Tobias Harris, the feature of the Pistons is that with their depth, all the question marks are like, will they improve or not? Not, are they still actually NBA players? Which is kind of how I feel with the Bucks stuff. Like the Bucks could have 12 useful players, but like, is Gary Harris, is it over? Kuzma, what's going on there? Taurean Prince, how much more do you have? Bobby Portis, how much more do you have? Gary Trent was good last year. He's not that old. Like Amir Coffey, I think is good. Is he actually still an NBA player? Kevin Porter Jr. had a nice half a season. We'll see. Cole Anthony, got bought out this summer. Andre Jackson might get cut. Like they just
two teams said no to Cole Anthony this summer, right? Like 2 teams said no to Cole Anthony.
Yes. There are question marks on Detroit because they're so young, but I believe that a lot of their question marks like, could this guy be like a thing and not like, can this guy play at all? So I tip Detroit. I have it kind of even 2-2 here, but I tend to lean your direction that I think if you sim the season 100 times, the Bucks are better. 55 of them probably. It's very close though.
The Pistons also had Karis LeVert, which I think is a very sneaky, underrated addition.
He's gotten way better as a defender recently.
Yeah, and Duncan Robinson, I think, is going to be an awesome fit there, and he's going to play great next to Cade. I'm going Detroit by landslide on depth, but I think why this exercise is kind of fun and also more than fun, useful, is because of things like this, where I think everybody is collectively so high on Detroit because look, they could have won that Knicks series. You could argue they should have won that Knicks series. And we're so low on Milwaukee because they bought out Damian Lillard and because it's been so disappointing and Giannis trade rumors and all this stuff. And yet when you put them on paper next to each other, I do think the Bucks are still the better team. And I think it's solely because they have Giannis and Detroit doesn't. We could do the rest of this exercise and we have. But I think the Bucks are slightly better than what consensus is. And I think Detroit is good. And I think the Pistons can win 50 games this year in the Eastern Conference. I would go so far as to predict it. I also think Milwaukee can win more than 50 games.
I think they're both going to be right around that. Bucks won 48 last year. Pistons won 44. Pistons are going to go the internal improvement route. Bucks are going to go with like the we have Giannis route. They're both going to be close. Time for real or fake with many news items. Thank you, Media Days from around the NBA coming up here on Locked On NBA Game Night. Before any of that, we got to talk to you guys about SKIMS. SKIMS makes underwear for men, and it's very intriguing. It's very comfortable. I've heard so much about their quality from friends and family. I had to give it a try. I have 2 pairs now, and let me tell you, lives up to the hype. Many people have issues with underwear, whether it's fit, whether it's comfort, whether it's finding the right style. SKIMS changes all that. Their men's line offers something for everyone, from boxer briefs to classic briefs. It's all designed with the perfect balance of comfort and style. I personally have their stretch briefs. They're really comfy, and I was a boxers guy in the past, but switched over to briefs. I'm never going back. I don't think there is any way to do it. They're sleek, they're lightweight, they're super comfortable. Feels like you're wearing nothing at all, but still fully secure where it matters most. Trust me, when it comes to underwear, I've tried a lot. SKIMS is the way to do it. Shop SKIMS now at SKIMS Mens at skims.com. Let them know we sent you after you place your order. Select podcast in the survey and select Locked On Pacers, Locked On Heat, Locked On NBA, whatever you would like to support in the drop-down menu that follows. Check out skims.com today. Back here on Locked On NBA Game Night. Thanks for making us your first listen every single day. We're going to talk about a lot of teams here in Real or Fake. Check out their Locked On podcast show to get it done. Real or Fake, Wes? So many things to get to. Matt Ishbia is talking today, and for the first time as owner of the Suns, he said their success this season may not be based on the number of wins. That's a pretty expensive team that doesn't care if they win. Buy or sell, real or fake, that Matt Ishbia doesn't care how good the Suns are.
I'm buying it. This is classic owner ate humble pie syndrome, right? This was Matt Ishbia who walked in talking a big game, thought he could outspend everybody in the game and say, you know what? I don't understand how this is so hard. We can just go get Kevin Durant, go do this, go get Bradley Beal. Like, why do people think that winning NBA games is so hard? Because it is, Matt. Because it is. And I think he found that out over the last couple of years. He got a heap and slice of humble pie, and he's now singing a very different tune at Media Day.
Unless he got sold this humble pie in the last month, I'm actually selling this. I think a PR person gave him the right notes of what to say, because he tweeted, these experts thought we'd be good and we were bad. These experts are stupid for thinking we'll be bad. We're going to be good. Remember when he said that? That was not that long ago. What are you doing, Matt Ishbia? Let your team be run by the people that you hired to run your team. I think they're going to suck, and he's right to say that, but I don't think he actually internally believes it. The Wizards still believe they are far away in a rebuild. Very interesting team. They have Chris Middleton, they have CJ McCollum, and they have a billion young players on their team. Roster-wise, we're still in the early phase of a rebuild. Will Dawkins says they are building the right way. To me, real or fake, the Wizards are on the right track, Wes.
I'm going real on this. I like it. I like this Wizards roster. I like the presence of guys like McCollum and Chris Middleton for as long as they're around, right? Like, is this just another Jonas Valanciunas situation where it's like, hey, you're here in the locker room, but don't get comfortable type of situation. But I think they're doing the right things. I think they've gotten rid of some of the right players. I don't need to name names there, but you know who I'm talking about. And I like a lot of the young talent. I think this is what you do when you're a young team, a rebuilding team, to Dawkins' point, that doesn't have that clear superstar to build around. You don't have a Cooper Flagg. You don't have a Cade Cunningham. You don't really have an Evan Mobley. You don't have any of these guys. I like Alex Sarr. I like Bub Carrington. I like Keyshawn George. I like Bilal Coulibaly. I like a lot of these guys. I like that they took a flyer on a guy like Cam Whitmore. But you're doing it like, okay, let's spread it out. Let's see how many of these young guys pop. And how many of these guys end up turning into our second, third, fourth guy? And then maybe we get lucky down the road with something. Maybe one of these guys pops into that superstar. Maybe we're able to trade for that guy. Maybe a free agent comes, or maybe we ended up being really, really bad again and getting this guy in the draft lottery. But for now, I think they're on the right path. It doesn't necessarily mean they're going to get that guy and then become good, but they're on the right path to give themselves a decent chance to do that.
All of Keyshawn George, Alex Sarr, Bub Carrington, and Bilal seem like something. Yep. Is that something a star? Maybe not, but they are trending the right way, right? If Trey Johnson is something, they'll have 5 like real potential dudes. They have veterans they can trade to get more dudes. They're going the right way, but I think Will Dawkins is also right to be like, yeah, we're still pretty far away from being a pretty good team.
And that's good. You can get away with that in the NBA. I like that.
It's
like,
very,
hey, guys, it's going to be a while.
It's very hard to be this bad for more than 2 years. So I applaud the Wizards for actually being like, conviction, like we have to do this the right way.
And they're not doing it, for the record, I just want to say they're not doing it the way that the Utah Jazz are doing it, which is like blatantly anti-competitive. Like, they're out here giving their young guys minutes, trying to win games, and just being bad at it. And that's I think there's honor in that. And
they're keeping the guys in the way. Chris Middleton and CJ McCollum are probably going to play for the Wizards. The Jazz would be like, no, get out of here. We want to play Isaiah Collier a bunch. Cam Thomas talked about his qualifying offer decision on Nets Media Day. I'd rather have control of my situation as a player. That's a type of control you want. Just finish the year and we'll see what happens, but I'm happy to be here and play in front of our fans again. Then later saying it was more pros to me taking the qualifying offer than any other deal. You want to keep that power you have as a player. Wes, real or fake that there are more pros than cons for Cam Thomas taking his qualifying offer?
Look, I'm buying it. It's real. As somebody who not once but twice has taken major pay cuts in order to create more control for myself in my life, I can't harsh Cam Thomas for this decision, right? Like I'm into it. I get it. Some things are more important than money, and I think I think we view our athletes as only being in it for the money. And by the way, maybe this is ultimately a failed ploy to get more money by Cam Thomas, which I'm not telling you that if the Nets had come out and offered him $50 million a year, he would have said no. He's obviously trying to put himself in a position where he can get more money. But if he wasn't feeling it in Brooklyn and he wants to, instead of just taking the immediate money right now, he's playing the long game. Again, as somebody who's done that twice in his life, and I feel pretty good about those decisions, I can't harsh him for it. I like it. Go do you, Cam Thomas. It's not all about who has the biggest check in this moment, people. Some of these players do think ahead. They think about their situations. I think that's awesome.
Wes is going to encourage me to make a life choice that I've been thinking about making with that kind of deep talk. I'd say fake under the guise only of earnings. Like, I think there are maybe some better ways he could have handled specifically the money part, but of course, personal happiness, where you want to play, the team you're on, the role you have. Yeah, you can't fault the player for wanting any sort of different thing. Jonathan Kuminga has some realistic offers. He's like, no, I don't want to be on the Warriors anymore. That's not what he said, but what I strongly suspect the tea leaves say. So I will take real in the end, but it's very much close on that. Good for Cam Thomas for being very upfront with the answer to that, by the way. It'd be very easy to be like, I'm not going to talk about my contract or anything.
Big day for transparency in NBA Media Day.
I actually, so far this year, no one's selling me anything crazy yet. Good job, NBA. Last one. We know Camp is here because all the guys who hoped they would get a real role, a real money, are finally like giving up and just joining teams. Thomas Bryant to the Cavs, Monte Morris to the Pacers, Precious Achiuwa to the Heat, all in the last couple days. Last 2 days, I believe. I might be missing some. Killian Hayes also to the Cavs. Real or fake, Wes, that any of these players will have any sort of a power shifting impact on their teams?
Power shifting, no. It's not. No, stop. Nice little depth pieces. These are a lot of training camp type deals. Happy for these veterans to be hanging on, but this is that stage for them in their careers.
That's how it goes. These are the best players left. They're hoping they can get guaranteed money or a guaranteed role. They couldn't, but I think most of them have at least, maybe not Killian Hayes, but have a decent chance to make the roster of the team they're on. That is all for today's Locked On NBA Game Night. Check out Wes on Locked On Heat and me on Locked On Pacers. Tomorrow, of course, more from this feed, more media day reactions, and Wes hosts Locked On NBA every single day. Thank you all so much for listening. We will all catch you in the next one.